So one night I was out, I wasn't feeling too well, and you know, you just want some cool air blowing in your face. So I stopped at the local Dollar Tree and I picked this up. And it's a little fan, it's $1. And I should say I have some other ones that I did not get at Dollar Tree. I actually got these elsewhere. And this one is run off of a USB connection. It runs off 5 volts. It even has a little power switch. This isn't too bad. I keep this here on my workshop or my workbench. I also have one that's made out of metal. It's in the other room. And they're great because you can plug them into USB power banks. This one runs, however, off of AA batteries. So I put some batteries that I bought from Dollar Tree as well. And again, everything is $1. So I didn't expect too much from it, but I expected it to at least work for, you know, a short period of time, maybe even just one set of batteries. So within about 30 to 40 minutes, I noticed it running pretty slow. And then shortly thereafter, it slowed down quite a bit. So I thought, well, maybe the batteries are shot. Maybe the batteries I got from Dollar Tree are just bad because they're $1 batteries. So I went to take the batteries out. Well, the batteries were, I would say, a few degrees short of burning me. That's how hot they were. They were basically ready to explode. Now, I threw this out and then I grabbed it out of the trash, so I don't have the back of it, but I thought I was going to make a video about it because well, I thought it was kind of interesting. I wanted to take it apart and find out why. Now, I don't know if you can see this, but the back of it is actually kind of wavy. Looks like it got kind of hot and started to melt. Now, like I said, these batteries were hot to the touch, so a few more degrees, and you know, I could have been burnt by them, which is not good because if batteries get that hot, they could explode. So let's take this apart, and I'm not actually going to be too careful because I don't see any screws, because I don't really care. Like I said, I threw this out originally. But I want to see what caused it to stop working, because I even put another set of batteries in thinking maybe the batteries are just cheap and they weren't able to, you know, withstand the current draw. But even a new set of batteries, this thing did not work. So let's do this first before we do anything. Let's see if we can power this thing up again, see if it'll actually work. And one thing I'm noticing is, yeah, you see, do you see that? So one thing I'm noticing is, look at that. The whole back of the motor's burnt out. And usually there's a metal bushing back there that would hold it in place. I'm wondering if they use plastic. I mean, that is the utter, I mean, what would you expect to happen? Just using plastic as a bushing? I mean, come on. All right, so it's drawing 5 amps. That power supply only goes up to 5 amps, so it is pegged. That's essentially almost a direct short. And it just stopped again. And something's smoking. Okay. Yeah, and that's actually kind of hot. So let's take it apart, just see what's going on inside. Maybe we can salvage some parts out of it, although I don't really, I mean, a motor and some contacts, I don't know what we can salvage. Maybe a switch. And if it got that hot, the coils in the motor are probably pretty shot too. Yeah, that switch is actually really hot. Oh wow, look at this. Let's zoom in. Look at that, the wires actually melted. That's one of the reasons for the direct short. The other is, look at the motor. Look how sloppy that is. There's no bearing in the back to hold it. It's obviously it's a brushed motor. I'm assuming this just pulls off. And I'm going to guess that you just, there you go. Let's try to power this up. I mean, we obviously know that there's a problem with it, but I wonder if the current goes down. Yeah, the motor's actually getting really, really hot right now, so I gotta stop. So yeah, it's still pulling a lot of power, and it's really hot. Alright, so let's take this thing apart. That's it. So it's not using any type of carbon brush. It's just, what is this? It's either brass or tin. It could be copper. I don't really know. Regardless, it's not a very good, suitable material for this because look, it chewed up the armature. And this has only been used. I'm sorry, it's not focusing. It's only been used a short time, but it got extremely hot. And the other thing is there's no rear bearing. So the front of the motor has a bushing or a bearing. Technically, it's a bushing, but people call it a bearing. So that's okay. It may not be the highest quality, but it's, it's there. It's made out of metal. It's not plastic. But the back of it, there's nothing there. There's nothing there to actually hold this up except for the brushes, if you want to call them that. And it looks like the back is missing a bushing, unless they expected the plastic to hold it in place, the plastic and the brushes. And obviously that doesn't work because look how big that hole is now, and it's all melted. All of the coil windings are fried. Look, they're all dark. So they've overheated way too much, which we knew that already. And look at that. All the insulators are all melted. The armature is absolutely destroyed. And it's not very high quality to begin with, but I mean, this is pretty bad. Those magnets are not very strong either, but they're still magnets. I'll see if I can get those out of there. Because I could reuse those. I could always use extra magnets. This switch, I'm just throwing it out. It got way too hot, and it's pretty cheap, pretty chintzy. So about the only thing I can really get out of this is the magnets. So yes, I understand it is a dollar store, and they do sell cheap merchandise, but there's cheap and then there's dangerous. And this is dangerous. When in under an hour, a set of batteries will melt this thing as it did. Again, if you give this to, imagine giving this to kids and have them taking them to their room or to their fort or whatever, then they forget about it, and they either go to change the batteries and they burn themselves, or they leave it laying on a bed and it sets the comforter on fire or something, or the battery explodes on them. Now, like I said, there was a back for it. I lost it because I threw it out and then I went and grabbed it out of the garbage. So, yeah, shame on you, Dollar Tree. You shouldn't be selling. Granted, you're selling cheap stuff, but garbage. This is absolute garbage.